One thing in New Horizons that still confuses me to this day is why Nook's Cranny only upgrades one time. I think most of us were generally expecting that we'd see some form of upgrade for the shop, like we had in pretty much every other Animal Crossing game. Even if this was just one more final version to tie up things nicely to add another stage of progression, that would have been a fantastic update. But it never came. Aside from us expecting an upgrade because of the past games, we actually had some evidence seemingly that Nintendo was planning an upgrade too, thanks to data mines. Now if you don't know what a data mine is, effectively certain people will look through the code of a game to see what interesting things they can find. Often this gives us a good idea of what future updates we can expect within a game. For example, we knew way back in 2020 that Brewster and the Roofs would be coming to the game, which they finally did later on in 2021. In fact, pretty much every data mine proved to be accurate in the end. Pretty much all of these data mines came from Ninja over on Twitter, who proved themselves to be an incredibly reliable and accurate data miner. However, one of these data mines specifically about Nook's Cranny seemingly never happened, at least as far as we know. Ninja shared way back in 2020 that a third Nook's Cranny was referenced in the code of the game, but not much else was detailed about it. This would have appeared to be a third upgrade, since at that point we already had two versions that are still in the game to this day. But even with the 2.0 update coming and going and major updates being discontinued, this upgrade for Nook's Cranny seemingly never came. So what exactly happened? Well, there's a few ideas that make a lot of sense. The first is that Nintendo did plan on adding a third version of Nook's Cranny to the game, but for some reason they scrapped this idea. Sometimes data mine content is something that Nintendo was working on, but they changed their mind for whatever reason. Maybe they just preferred the idea of having a more quaint shop on what is originally a deserted island, feeling like a more elaborate version wouldn't really fit the style of the game. Or perhaps plans got cancelled when Nintendo decided to upgrade Halves Island, creating a whole bunch of new shops for players to use there. Maybe they felt like an upgraded Nook's Cranny would have been pointless with the variety you get on Halves. It's also possible that this code was misinterpreted and Nintendo never really planned a third version of the Nook shop. Maybe it was actually in reference to the second floor of Nook's Cranny, which technically you can access using some glitchy methods. Nothing is actually up there, but it's still a space with a modelled staircase. Technically, Nook's Cranny also did get minor upgrades too, with new limited time items being added and a whole inventory of new items being made available there with the 2.0 update. Not really a different version of the shop itself though, but maybe this is what Nintendo actually meant to begin with. Whatever the reason, the absence of this third Nook's Cranny is really sad to me. I think having a much bigger space to shop in would have been fantastic. You could have brought back Gracie, who could have ran the high end of the shop and just generally provided players with more options, which would have been really great. This is how it was in basically every other game, so I would have liked it to be this way in New Horizons 2. After all, New Horizons is the most advanced of all the games, so it feels odd to me that they went backwards in this one particular way. At the end of the day, we may never know what happened to this third Nook's Cranny version, if it even truly existed. Ninja, like most other Animal Crossing data miners, have now basically retired from the game as it's been out for so long and updates have stopped. So these sorts of things will remain a mystery unless Nintendo ever specifies what content they would have planned on adding to the game, but they couldn't. That would definitely be a really cool thing to learn if they ever decided to share that information, although sadly Nintendo is honestly pretty secretive about this kind of thing. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Would you have liked to have seen a new Nook's Cranny upgrade in the game? And what sorts of things would you like to have seen in that bigger version of Nook's? If you make it to the end of the video, then be sure to comment Bob's Gang down below so I know you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on channel notifications for more.